Back here on Backyard History.
Hello, I'm Joshua Bale.
And I'm Garrett Davidson, and this is Backyard History Battles. Today we have two fine examples of haversacks for the Federal soldier. Let's take a look. So first, let's have a look at my haversack, or the haversack on your right. So this is the way that these particular haversacks, the tarred Union haversacks, are fastened with this leather strip here through this buckle. And a lot of times, soldiers on both sides would often take their cup and feed it through here as a way of quick access. So if we pull some of these items out, this is my approach to how I put my items into my haversack, or what items I do have in my haversack for that matter. So I do have quite a bit, and in some ways it is different than what maybe a soldier during the Civil War might have had, but is kind of a realistic way for at least reenacting, and I think that it works real well, and it still has a historical aspect. So as you can see, there's quite a bit in here, and there's some empty bags and rice getting everywhere. And let's first show you a thing or two about the haversack. So there is two bags, there's the main bag, and then there's an inner bag in here. And this inside bag is just kind of a separator, and you can put stuff down below in here. Like I have some soap, I have a comb, which would have been imported because of the Japanese inscriptions. And a lot of times soldiers needed something to clear their minds while they're out on the campaign, and a nice journal of sorts, or keep notes and whatnot, is very important. So things for writing is a big thing that soldiers might have had. I also have just a few like rope and stuff in there that's not too important. But this is some of the items I have in here, and I'll go over a few of them. Now these, and I have dropped one somewhere down here, and I'll get that for you. It says beans, they're inscribed with writing for obviously rice, coffee. This is the Union Mechanical Baking Company. That is what is stamped on hardtack boxes and things of that nature, and that's a big manufacturer of hardtack during this time. And also, like I said, the bean bag for just typical beans. Obviously, so you have coffee beans too, but that would go into coffee bag. They have different bags, and obviously a lot of the time they probably wouldn't be stamped like this. It'd probably be more plain or something like that that they could easily acquire. But if in the chance that they actually do have something like this, it's a nice addition or something for at least spectators. Like I said, this is my reenactor approach, and this is not, it looks clean and something very nice for your spectators to look at. They obviously see this and it says rice. So what do they expect to have in the rice bag? Well, it's going to be rice. So like I said, there's a few items in here, and a big important thing, and these are a part of their rations, were candles. It's a little melted, but they do great. And a match tin, obviously with matches. Now these are not the most accurate matches. These have a little bit of a little sticker on there, so it looks a little more historically accurate, but the match tin at least covers that. So, but yeah, I really do I'm a big fan of poke sacks and stuff like that, because that's a great way to just separate your items and something to display. And it looks kind of nice because you got different patterns and things that they would have had. So looking over here, this is a housewife. Soldiers would often have these for their sewing and stuff of that nature. All right. So now for your haversack on the left.
All right, so moving on to my haversack, the one on your left. As you can see, my haversack is a little bit bigger than his, and this is because this is actually a private purchase haversack, meaning that this comes from a private company that would basically take contracts from the U.S. government, and they would make haversacks and accoutrements and the such clothing to the guidelines set by the government, this basic structure. But, not all the time, sometimes this is bigger than his, but it's basically, the same. It's the same idea. Inside, much like his, you got this leather strap with a buckle. Open it up, and here you can see there's a stamp for the private maker. And then, again, inside it's pretty simple. I don't have as much stuff as Garrett here, but I have canteen half, which is basically like just an everyday plate they would get. I have a sanitary commission bag. These were mid to late war. These were used, it's much like his poke sacks over here, but these were more used for meat and such, stuff that kind of needed to be kept, sanitary. Inside, they might not have usually done this, but it's just, convenient. I have my fork. Back then, they usually only had 3 prongs, unlike today, they usually have 4. I also have my cup, which is just the basic tin cup. As you can see, it's a little depressing, but anyways, inside, again, you have a bag. This you could tell, it's, probably private purchase. This is just pillow ticking, really. You can unfasten the bag, in the interior bag, from the main bag. It's fastened by buttons. You can see here's it in full, another stamp or whatever. There you go. And then here's the main canvas bag. Now this is obviously, as Garrett said, this is tarred canvas, making it somewhat water resistant. Confederates usually, their haversacks were usually just one layer. Maybe sometimes it had an interior bag, but they were usually made out of just pillow ticking or untreated canvas. Most times, Union soldiers, they did have this tarred, as they called it, haversacks. So, as you could probably tell, obviously Union definitely had more of a supply chain going for these things, just to be, readily available. And yeah, that's basically my haversack. Well, this about wraps up this episode of Backyard History Battles. Once again, I'm Joshua Bale.
And I'm Garrett Davidson.
And we'll see you in the next one.